Hello, everybody. Today I finally got my wish. Mike Ames has technical issues, so today is fully the Kirsty Ames show. But today I am joined by Alex. Hello, Alex. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You well?
Good. A bit stressed, Michael
Ish.
causing issues stressing. But today we're going to be talking about something that is definitely very topical in the recruitment world right now, which is speccing in candidates. Now, Alex, I know that you have obviously a history of recruitment. How is the current climate different than it used to be when it comes to speccing in candidates?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a weird one in the fact that every client out there we all know every client out there is struggling to hire at the minute, and that's why everyone's seeing record months and incredible amount of jobs coming through. The problem that we all have is then finding the time to actually go and get those candidates seen. So we're all fully focused on candidate attraction at the minute, trying to fill job vacancies that we've got coming in. But then, what happens if a candidate doesn't get placed? Do they just fall into a black hole, or do you try and make the most of those candidates and get them seen by other clients who are also on the lookout?
Yeah. So, I mean, traditionally, in my experience from when I used to work in recruitment a while ago now, it was sort of seen not as bad form, but it was sort of seen as a more aggressive thing to spec in, sort of constantly emailing your clients, like, do you like this person? Do you like that person? But like you say now, when good candidates anyway, are sort of thin on the water, it's a great time to say, well, these are my top three and it was close and this person got taken. And I've got these two who are still great. Let's move forward. So
100%.
I know you have a sort of unique perspective on this because you are also involved in something called the Scoop. Is this correct?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes. So the Scoop is sort of interesting and it allows you to sort of anonymously spec in candidates because that anonymity is quite important, especially if candidates are still, not necessarily looking to move, but you've sort of headhunted them. So can you talk to me a little bit more about what that looks like?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I think part of the issue is, if you look at most candidates at the minute, the number one priority for every candidate in the market, especially if you're employed by another business, is job security. In the current economy, no one wants to risk losing their job to go for a first stage screening interview just to understand if a job's of interest. And you've got all these great candidates, but actually you can't just click on the majority of recruitment websites. You can't click on them and see what candidates people are representing. So it results in recruiters specking out either anonymized briefs of their candidates over a bunch of text and almost throwing a bunch of, let's call it, stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks, which has just been kind of done the same way for the last, 20, 30 years. It's just been sending emails to people and, you just look like everyone else trying to just market candidates who people don't believe that you've got their authority to market to people. So with the Scoop, what we've done a little bit differently is allowed recruiters to create anonymous profiles of candidates that they're representing, and then those links or animated links can be sent through emails, posted onto LinkedIn to let people come to you. They can be sent through private messages. There's a number of ways in which they can go get seen. But yeah, it's just rather than sending in a CV with a name taken off like everyone's traditionally done it, this just provides a bit of a here he is, a bit of a different way. Hello.
Oh, he's ruined the Kirsty Ames show by appearing. Mike, I did explain that you were having some technical issues, but you're now with us, are you?
Not off. Yeah, that was a bit of a scramble. Why couldn't that have broken at 12:15 instead of 12:25?
Yes, I know.
I don't know. Technology. The thing is, thank God we're not dependent on technology. Oh, wait. Yeah, we are. What have I missed?
Right. Well, we just basically talked about specking in and how at the moment it's a new world with specking in because it's lost that sort of tainted edge of sort of begging or being pushy. And now, you don't want to waste these excellent candidates that you found. Yeah, you want to sort of encourage people to find when good candidates are thin on the water. But okay, so what we are looking at is we just introduced the Scoop with Alex.
Okay, before we go to that, though, can I just add a couple of things? I don't know what's been said and what hasn't.
Add as many as you want.
Okay, I'll keep this brief. I've never been a big fan of specking in because I think that if you win a client who'll just randomly take an emailed CV from someone else and look at them and hire them, that's not really a client that I want, because I want a client when I'm in the circle with them, they trust me, they see me as a partner, and they're not just going to randomly take CVs from anyone else. And so I've never been a big fan. However, for the two reasons that you mentioned, now is okay if it's done properly, I think, because firstly, candidates are in such short supply that I think clients are kind of pleased if you offer them a really good one that they didn't know before. And pretty much anybody's open to a possible approach about a spec candidate if they're good and it's well done. But the second thing is, if you do have candidates which are hard to come by and you've taken it all the way through to shortlist stage, they've not been selected, but they're very good. Client liked them, interviewed them, thought they were good, just took someone else. Then you do really want to reuse them, because that's a very good way to make the most of the resources that you've got. So I haven't changed my opinion on speccing. And as soon as the market swaps around to being client-led instead of candidate-led, I'll go back to hating it again. But right now, I'm a huge fan. Just want to get that out there.
You're a fickle man, Michael, aren't you? You're a fickle man. Fickle.
I am a fickle man. Yes, I am. Yeah, but I'm also a man that likes to make as much money as possible for his clients, and speccing kind of works with that at the moment. So let's go with it.
Well,
It's about trying to find the time as well, isn't it? Really.
yeah, we've got a lovely comment here from Simon.
Yeah, there's some Modis days. Yeah. I tell you, all the best people have worked.
Oh, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, all the best people have worked at Modis. Yeah.
I haven't.
Didn't you? Oh, well, there you go. I did.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's sort of move this on now. So I know that we talked about this, and essentially what you've been discussing, Alex, is creating sort of microsites for these candidates to be specced into. So can we move and sort of have a look at what that would look like?
Yeah, 100%. Let me go into a screen share very quickly.
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool. So I guess
Can we start with the email one first, because I think that's the natural go-to, isn't it, for most recruiters? I know I'll put a CV or I'll put an email together and I'll send it out on an email and try and get someone to be attracted by this, and then blah blah blah. So if you can bring up that and tell us what it looks like when you use the scoop in there, then.
Yeah, here we go. So can you see my screen?
We can indeed. So this is your email that you've got.
Yeah, so I guess historically what recruiters have tended to have done, they've written up almost like a little brief of their candidate, or as I said previously, maybe a CV with a name taken off, but you kind of look like every other recruiter out there, just marketing a bunch of text out, and it doesn't really do much to kind of engage the prospective clients that you're trying to reach out to. So what you can see on the scoop here is that when you share a link like the one below, what will happen is it's going to auto generate into what's called a link preview. And these link previews is kind of like the same. If you added a YouTube link, you would end up having the thumbnail image, the title of the YouTube video, and a description. They're kind of the same things, because you've got these digital microsites with your candidates' profiles. This, where it says anonymous candidate, would normally just be the job title. So let's call it project manager. And if you click into that image, all you have to do is click on it once, and you would have project manager, status, looking for the next opportunity, their location, their salary, their skill set, their years of experience.
Can I stop you right there, Alex? So this is something that the recruiter has set up. This page that we're looking at now, you don't need to go to a techie or anything. They can just set this up as a microsite, can't they?
Correct, yeah, and that's all. It's all managed through essentially a back-end content management system. So it gives.
Oh, please, no, not a back end, please, no.
It's a pretty straightforward back-end like content management system. So
right, so just on this then. So that is the chance to really sell the candidate, so that the client says, I'd like to know a little bit more. Is that what we're going for with this, really?
100%. It's that initial outreach tool to just get a conversation sparked up with someone without giving away everything. Like, you're not giving away the confidentiality of the candidates that you're representing. You're still protecting that, but it gives you an opportunity to go to market and allow the clients to see everything about the candidate that they could possibly need to see. And it stops them from running into the issue of HR knocking on their door saying, why the hell have you been reviewing CVs from a random recruiter that isn't signed up to the PSL or something like that.
Okay, and just one more thing on this, because this isn't a software demo. We'll come back to this in a second, but you can put videos, can't you, there? Yeah, which I really liked. So you could either say put an interview there of you talking through the CV or going through the LinkedIn profile or whatever, or talking to the candidate themselves, I guess. But they'd only really get that if they wanted it, if they got the password for it. Is that right?
Exactly that. So, I mean, you could host video anywhere, really. You could do it on Zoom, you could do it on Microsoft Teams, obviously all the traditional Odro interview any platform out there to record the video. But then obviously what you wouldn't want to do is just make that a public video for everyone to see. So you password protect it, add it to the bottom, and to a certain degree, people want what they can't have. No one's ever seen a password protected video link at the bottom of an anonymous profile before. It's kind of used as a way to entice people to reply to your message by promising them more.
This sort of pulls me back to sorry, I'll just come back to this now. So it sort of pulls me back to when we spoke about AIDA. So in that email that you sent with the graphic that moves in it and the sort of embedded link, that gets your attention. It's unusual. It's not what you would normally see. And then you would have the microsite to gain interest and desire. And then at the end with that password protected video, that's the action. If you want to get the password, just reply password to this email, or just say yes and I'll send you, or we'll have a call or whatever. And it's a good way of sort of using it. Is sort of accidentally AIDA, is it? I suppose maybe intentionally AIDA.
Can I ask a question about that? Because that's a very good point, Kirsty. Actually, that's a very good point. Grab their attention, build their interest, obviously, and their desire, and then get that very simple call to action. As part of the creating the desire stage in AIDA, is it possible to have a video which isn't password protected, which is just you talking about the candidate? So they go in and say, right, let me just give you a quick heads up, 2 minutes on this candidate, yada, 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 yada. So they can go through and do the description to build up that desire even further. And because it's anonymous anyway. And then presumably, if they're interested, you could send them another video of the candidate if that was what you were interested in doing. Have you got any data around kind of success rates on that, or open rates, or anything at all?
The people that we have got, obviously open rates for one is, I think the market average in recruitment is if you were to attach a document, PDF, a URL link to an email, the average click-through rate is 2.5%, which is crazy when you think about it. You send an email to 100 clients, and only 2.5 of them are going to click on those links, or 2 of them are going to click. It's just,
is that clients who you know, or is that potential clients who you don't know? Because I think that's pretty high. If they don't know you, I'd have thought it was lower than that. Really,
it depends on the call to action in the actual link, really, doesn't it? That's meant to be just cold outreach. Essentially, click-through rates on cold outreach.
I'll take 2.5% any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, our clients, because of these, the power of an animation or a GIF image that are attached to these links is unbelievable. So our clients are reporting back through their email campaigns that they're doing that they're getting up to 88% click-through, which is, I tried to figure out. I'm not that good with stats and stuff like that, but I tried to figure out what that is as an increase in something like 3,000%.
I think we can say a lot. It's a big increase. That's a lot. Yeah.
And that's just really because we all, through my modus days, it was always about keeping your email short, sharp, and concise. But if you just send a bunch of text with a little bit of information, people are just going to go, well, I don't know enough to warrant coming back to your message in the first place. So the idea is through these digital animated links, you keep everything packaged into a link which just entices people to click on it, come away from their LinkedIn profile or from their LinkedIn messages or their emails in order to see more about the people that you approach them with.
Right, now, we talked about email because that's the traditional go-to, isn't it? That's what most people would use. Certainly back in the day, that's what people would have used. But you were telling me off air that actually your research is telling you that's not necessarily the best way to use this microsite, isn't it?
Yeah, spot on. So I think, we spend years as recruiters connecting up with our target audience on LinkedIn, and we've got all of these thousands of connections who are the perfect audience for the people that we represent, but they just can't click on our LinkedIn profile and see what people we're representing. So not only does your Scoop profile sit attached to LinkedIn, but when you grab a link, just like it would do with an email, you can post those links onto LinkedIn as a social post. And then suddenly you've got clients reviewing the candidates that you're representing, coming to you saying, well, I've just seen a post that you've done with a candidate profile. It looks like a good match to a role that we're recruiting for. Can we have a chat?
Can you just show us what that looks like then, if you were going to do that on LinkedIn? Kirsty can bring that up in a second. Because I'll tell you the reason I'm interested in this is that I think you get a fraction of a second of interest with people.
Sure.
And so you really have to try different routes, and certainly email for some people, LinkedIn messaging for others, but posting works. or can work, obviously, for some people. So it's about experimenting and seeing what works best for you, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah.
Do you know what the other side of it as well? You could end up speccing a candidate profile to one of your first degree connections on an email, and people wouldn't even put 2 and 2 together. They'll just think, oh, here's another random recruit, because I've got thousands of other people in my network. I didn't even realize that we're a first degree connection. So actually,
LinkedIn, which of course
confirm, oh, actually, I am connected with this person. I can see that we've spoken before, whatever it may be. So I'll jump back in.
Yeah, let's jump on that.
We all love LinkedIn, don't we?
Let's just take this candidate profile with the video. If I was to copy that link, just like it would do with an email, if I went onto a LinkedIn post, what you can basically see is if I share that link, straight away the link's going to turn into an animation, and then I can delete that URL, and I can say, like, let's call it hot candidate, for example, representing a brilliant candidate to market. If it looks like a good match, check out more on their profile below and let me know if it's of interest. And when you post that link out, they just click on the image. And just by having that bit of animation, it stops someone scrolling when they're going through the activity feed. They're all bidding for people's attention on LinkedIn, and actually it's very hard to kind of grab their attention.
And so it just creates that image automatically. That's not something that me as a user would have to do or create anything in the back end.
It's generated as an image, yeah, correct. And then the other side to it is, imagine Mike, I just pulled Mike up just before, imagine you were a client that I was trying to work with, Mike. You know, I could see that if you're hiring for someone like, let's say, a programmatic sales consultant, I could say, hi, Mike, hope you're doing well. Check out, I saw you were hiring. Check out more on the profile of candidate representing. And then even when you send it through a private message, you know, straight away you're confirming that you're a first degree connection, allowing you to go and get candidates seen through LinkedIn messages, which historically could never be done before, because you wouldn't just send them a big bunch of text and look like you're just spamming a load of information about your candidates through private messages.
And again, have you got any data attached to that from your current users?
It's a little bit harder to track through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn are the holder of data, basically. It's a little bit difficult, unfortunately. But our clients are reporting back they're getting up to 45% higher response rates compared to just sending them a traditional message or a video or a link or like an audio message or something like that. So they're getting a good response rate from people. And even if that candidate isn't right for someone, you know, it's just a good lead generation tool in itself, just to get a conversation started with someone to say, well, you know, this person might not be exactly right for what you're looking for. However, now that I've got you on the phone, let me find out a little bit more about the business.
Well, the thing that attracted me and why I wanted you to come on the show, because I have to stress, this is not a software demo.
Yeah, sorry.
If you want that, you've got to contact Alex directly, and I'm sure he'll sort that out for you. And we've received no inducements to get him on the show. I'm just interested because for some time now, I wanted something which was a cost-effective way to very quickly set up microsites that you could put someone on and promote them, because I think it's such an important thing right now, today, to be able to professionally put together something that says, well, let me talk you through this candidate that I've got, and here's some information on it. I mean, it's massively important. And you know, when I saw the scoop the first time round, I didn't really clock that. It was a different time anyway, but now it's so terribly relevant for that. And of course, it works well, as Kirsty was talking about earlier, with AIDA. You know, grab their interest, which is going to happen. Click through, begin to build, you know, desire to actually get to know whether this person, if they've got a requirement, would be the good fit for them. And all they have to do on a call to action is click a button, isn't it, really? They can respond to the email, respond to the message that you've sent them, or just respond to the comment, say, yeah, I'd like to see a CV, whatever. You know, so it's not that difficult for them to respond if they like what they see, is it? Okay, so now let me whilst we have you, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do next month, and all the rest of it. Sorry, next week. But whilst we're on, very, very quickly, what else does the scoop do? Because it does more than that, doesn't it? So, kind of, what have you got? Literally a 2-minute.
Yeah, I guess, for me to just show you with these candidate profiles was, if I'll jump on a screen share again, so you can see once you've got this candidate profile, ultimately the profile sits attached to what is essentially a digital landing page in Designer View, the recruiter. I don't like to call it personal branding, because ultimately it's recruiter branding. It's using the recruiters to be the messengers of the business to go and get yourself seen. But you can see it's essentially a digital profile for a recruiter. Think of it as like an outsourced meet the team page. So whilst I can go down, it's all linked up with your ATS and your CRM, so I can see.
To be very clear on this, though, if the recruiter leaves, this site collapses. They can't take it with them, can they?
It's owned by the business, yeah. So it's sold to and owned by the company. So if they help, almost enable their recruiters to go out and build their brand, if they do decide to leave, they're going to a business that this wouldn't carry over. So this is a tool owned by the company, not the recruiter.
Now, just while you're on that, Squid, if you click on a vacancy, say click on, I mean, those are test vacancies, I guess.
Let me just.
If you click on a job, does that take you through to a similar page then that you showed us for the candidates?
Yeah, exactly right. And I clicked on this one just because you mentioned about having video that wasn't password protected. This is an example of a job vacancy where you can embed video on top of the job ad and you can make it public. So that could just be the recruiter talking about the role, the client, the reasons why it should be an exciting position for that candidate.
Yeah, he loves his video, doesn't he, that boy?
Will. Yeah, Will's a good advocate for us.
Yeah, he does. But I think so. Again, it's a good way if you wanted to promote job opportunities to candidates. Would you use it for that?
Yeah, so that's what, obviously, with everyone just focusing on candidate attraction at the moment, that's what a lot of people will do. They'll, I guess, what my main goal really with the scoop is to make. Sorry, let me just jump back on.
All right, there you go.
Is really to try and make every agency recruiter almost like an embedded partner of their client's business, because for years we've just all gone to market. Give me a job spec. I'm going to go and find you the top 5% in the market, and it's very difficult to do that just off the back of a job spec. So actually, by hosting videos with your clients, you can become this embedded partner of your client's business, going to market with their message, but you're password protecting it because you wouldn't want everyone to see it. You're only giving it out to those special selected few that show you a bit of commitment and a bit of engagement. So
on that role, for example, if it was a senior enough role, you could actually perhaps interview the client and say, well, okay, tell us a bit about the role then. But it's password protected unless you send that password through. Okay. And just one other quick thing on there as well, which I'm very keen on, as everybody knows, is there is a space for content, isn't there? You can put a bit of content on there. Yeah. So that thing about, oh yeah, you've got to read this great blog post we did, or yeah, we produced this little thing, this video you got to watch, and then you can't find it. You can stick it all on there, can't you?
Yeah. And so I guess it's about trying to position content in the right place to drive awareness of the things that are going to make you money, which are the job vacancies you've got or the candidates you're representing. If you had a explainer video or a recording of a meetup event and you hosted it on YouTube, if you post that video, that YouTube link out onto LinkedIn, people are going to click on it. They're going to watch the YouTube video, and then what? They're going to click on the X button back onto LinkedIn, and then you're almost going to be forgotten about. So the Scoop acts as more of a curation tool to bring content together from across the web, which might be on YouTube, Spotify, website, PDF documents, and brings it all together so that I think they say something like 85% of candidates, when they're approached about a job, they're not actually looking for a job at the time. So if all you do is send them a traditional message over LinkedIn, they read it and go, well, I'm not looking, click on the X button. I guess what we're trying to do is allow that 85% of the market to click on your profile and get all of that social proof to help remember you the next time that you reach out, because they'll be like, oh, actually watch that video of a meetup or a DevOps event that you held, or a podcast that you held, and people in the market. So yeah, it's about kind of curating all of the content that's normally sporadically spread across the internet into one link.
Okay, that's great. So before we get on to other things, I think Kirsty might have one or two questions stacked up. But if people do want to know more about it, it's you. Just connect with you on LinkedIn, I presume, and that's the best way. Okay. All right. Kirsty, have we got anything?
That was pretty much it. I was going to say, because we have had some people say, this is a really interesting tool. This is incredible. So they can just connect with you on LinkedIn. Your name is Alex Bennison, and we'll probably have you comment in the comments of this section. But what I really wanted
Alex was tagged in as a presenter on the show, so so you can find him LinkedIn on LinkedIn.
So I think what I wanted to see was, we are in recruitment in a very unique, well, not unique time, but a definite candidate-led time, and this allows you to create some real traction around those really good candidates that you took time to find and qualify and push through processes, and are good, but they just, were one of 3 good people that you managed to find. So it's a really useful thing. So for me, Alex, we spoke about this a little bit before. I always like to have one simple thing that people can do. Now, we're going to keep this around speccing in people. Yeah. If you had one tip for people what would it be, do you think?
And it's not by the scoop. You can't do that. It's cheating. No.
I've probably done enough of that. To be fair. No, I just think we all need to kind of like think outside the box. I think one of our biggest kind of mantras is trying to look different and like differentiate yourself to other recruiters in the market. And I think even if it's a case of using some of the free tools that are out there, imagine if you've got a candidate on the go, rather than just sending a big bunch of text, go and record a video with them on Zoom. And you can either host that Zoom recording in the cloud, or you can host it on YouTube and hide it. You can post it on Vimeo and almost like promise to provide clients with a little bit more than just a text grab of your candidate's experience. By saying to them, look, if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about the role or the candidate, just drop me a reply and I'll provide you with a link to go and watch the recording. You don't have to spend hundreds of pounds a month on costly, interview software in order to do that. Obviously, there's benefits to doing it in tracking and so on. But just think outside the box and be a little bit more innovative in the way that you present people to your prospective clients.
Good. Thank you for that. I agree with that, by the way, 100%. It's all about standing out, definitely.
Fantastic. Okay, Mike, next week, what are we doing?
Okay, next week, let me tell you what we're going to do next week. We're going to talk about how you can use productization to boost your fees. And that's not one of those gimmicky things, right? I promise there is a direct link between how hard you productize and how big your fees become. So tune in next week for some more action on that.
Fantastic. And next time, I assume you'll have the internet properly ready to go as we start.
Well, you say that, I mean, I just like to live on the edge a little bit, scoot in at the end there and shuffle in and get in there.
You're on your own there, Kirsty, actually. I think you were getting into that.
Well, apparently she'd got her logo ready, the Kirsty Ames Show. She just didn't get a chance to put it up. So, yeah, okay.
Okay, so are you going to round off, Mike? Do you want to round off today?
You round off, baby. Yeah, you go.
Okay. Once again, thank you to everybody who's watched and who's commented, and a big thanks to Alex for giving us sort of a unique point of view on this. And thank you for Mike for finally turning up. Yes. And hopefully we'll see everyone next week.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And just hang on the line for a second, Alex, if you don't mind. We'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot.